Well, yes. I mean, it'd be much more uniform in terms of approach. Remember that what they say, patriots only, what they mean is that only if you believe that Hong Kong is part of China, which is according to the laws, everything that's out there, can you be part of this government. You cannot be somebody who believes that Hong Kong should be an independent entity or that it has the ability to somehow break off or tell basically mainland China what they want to do instead of following, the dictates of the security route.
So 5 years ago, nearly 250,000 people in Hong Kong were allowed to select the election committee. This year, it's been scaled back to about 5,000. Why is that the case?
Well, you have to remember, when people start looking at this, they should not mistake this as an election. It's really a kind of holdover from the colonial era of Great Britain. When there was the handover, Great Britain said, look, stick with the system that we created. Now, what was that system? It was a unicameral body. That means it's just one body instead of having like a Senate and a congressional house. They just had one. And a very powerful executive. And everything stacked towards vested interest. The politically connected and wealthy had an outmoded representation, as did the financial industries. So what China has done is they've increased the number of 9 to 90 of these representatives who will serve as a slight check and balance on the executive, in addition to nominating and voting for who this would be. So it's an attempt to really create a cohesive system where you can actually get governance done, taking a lot of the politics out, the divisive politics, taking off the table this idea that Hong Kong can be an independent nation.
How do you respond to the criticisms, mainly from the West, that Beijing's involvement in all of these changes went against the one country, two systems policy?
Well, it's nonsense. If you look at the actual documents, the agreement, now remember, this was a handover. It was not a negotiated settlement. The British came in and they just took it over by gunboat diplomacy many years ago. You hear echoes of that happening again today. And really what China is doing is trying to make the process more fair, to put in a government that can actually govern, as opposed to allow these kind of endless parade of riots that overtook Hong Kong for almost an entire year. So yes, there are elements there which go to how China represents itself. The best analogy would be the Electoral College in the United States, where people vote for an electoral representative who then votes for the president. So this is the closest I could come to in terms of explaining exactly how this works. But remember, this is not the body that's actually going to be in the Legislative Council. It is a group that is going to elect those people who are going to be in it. And it's a complex formula because it was inherited from the British itself. And they're simply trying to take part of the old and increase and add some new parts that were authorized under the NPC, which is National People's Congress of China, mainland China. They have the ultimate word under the document that was created during the handover, and that this is what they have done. We will look forward to seeing whether this solves a lot of the problems. So far, it has. Hong Kong has been peaceful for the last couple of years.